Primary Election Day is Tuesday, June 4th. Now is the time to make a plan. Whether you plan to vote absentee by mail, in person at your county auditor's office before Election Day, or at your polling place on June 4th, it's important you take steps now to make your plan at voterready.iowa.gov. Remember, Election Day is Tuesday, June 4th. Find more info at voterready.iowa.gov. This message is presented by the Iowa Secretary of State.
When it comes to weight loss, no two people are the same. That's why Noom builds personalized plans based on your unique psychology and biology. Take Brittany. After years of unsustainable diets, Noom helped her lose 20 pounds and keep it off.
I was definitely in a yo-yo cycle for years of just losing weight, gaining weight, and it was exhausting.
And Stephanie. She's a former D1 athlete who knew she couldn't outtrain her diet, and she lost 38 pounds.
My relationship to food before Noom was never consistent.
And Evan, he can't stand salads, but he still lost 50 pounds with Noom.
I never really was a salad guy. That's just not who I am. Even through the pickiness, Noom taught me that building better habits builds a healthier lifestyle. I'm not doing this to get to a number. I'm doing this to feel better.
Get your personalized plan today at Noom.com. Real Noom users compensated to provide their story. In 4 weeks, the typical Noom user can expect to lose 1 to 2 pounds per week. Individual results may vary.
Welcome to Tunnel Talk and No Facts, All Feelings Wrestling Podcast on the Social Suplex Network. I'm Allie.
I'm Ann.
And I'm Leah.
How are you guys doing this week?
You ever just look around at your physical environment and be like, failure to thrive?
Oh, girl. What's going on over there, Ann? What's the problem?
Well, I'm stressed because I need to plant all my annual plants in my garden, but I haven't done it yet. I bought them last weekend, but haven't gotten to it. Now I'm getting stressed. It's getting late in the year for them to thrive. And then,
oh my God, that's the word. When you're worried about yourself thriving and you see it reflected in plants. I once said on a work call, somebody was just looking at my background. They were like, "Oh, you have so many beautiful plants." And I said, "Well, they're actually not doing that well. A plant can only be as healthy as its owner."
That's so true. Really got real on that work call, though.
And I did get a look after, all right. And I was like, well, I certainly shouldn't have said it, but I think it's excused. It is true every single year of my life, but this was in the middle of the pandemic. So it's you just have to let me say things.
Right, yeah.
I haven't left the house in months, and yet the plants are dying of thirst. Something isn't going right here. It's a bad situation.
Yeah, I think we all said stuff on work Zoom calls in 2020. Right. We can't be held accountable for.
2020, 2021, they're garbage years. You throw them out. It doesn't count.
Well, I'm sure you will get your plants planted.
I hope so. We'll see.
But if you don't, that's okay too. We'll still love you.
Thank you so much. That's true. So good to hear.
And you have our support no matter how your annuals are doing.
But if your perennials fail to thrive,
no.
you're in trouble.
My perennials are doing fine. They're actually thriving a little too much, so.
You have your are those your raspberry bushes that are over thriving?
Yes.
They really will take over.
Yeah, they go nuts. And then I planted some mint too, which I knew at the time was a mistake because it's intrusive, and I was like, I don't care. But it's everywhere now, so
Yeah.
But it's thriving. It's so healthy. It's healthy and it's everywhere. There's some strawberries under there.
When you can take over any environment you're in, then, you're going to thrive.
Yeah, of course. Have some gardening talk.
Well, it is despite the circumstances of your environment, it is your week to share what's making you happy. Is there something that's doing that?
Yes, I thought about it. I have two. So first one is Thursday, and so for any wrestling heads out there who haven't heard this yet, our former president, Donald J. Trump, did get convicted of 34 felonies today, so that's pretty exciting.
I have not admittedly been following it super closely because I am so stressed out about everything. But I did not feel confident that we were going to get this outcome.
No, I didn't either.
Certainly not. No. I know. It was very funny.
They came back and said he did do the crimes.
He did them, all of them, every single one of them. I know. And then I got on Twitter to like see the jokes, and my feed was like 30 journalists like saying the news and then making jokes about the news, and then Dave Meltzer quote tweeting a Twitter egg and being like, well, you have to look at the year-over-year television losses in general. And I was like, yeah, this feels right for sure. So,
David.
I know. But my second making me happy one, it actually has a nice segue. I thought of this one before the convictions, but it's also about a sociopathic New York real estate developer. But
a little special interest of yours.
No, special interest is all I think about. Season 2 of The Jinx has been awesome. Like,
oh, is it good?
It's really good. When it was coming out, I was like, how are they even doing a season 2? Like, I love season 1, but like, what are we going to do here? But then I like rewatched all of season 1 and then went into season 2, and it's like so compelling. Like, I've had to watch it week to week. I'm not actually all the way through the finale yet, but it's really good, and it's like weirdly moving too. Like, just especially the family of his first wife, because it's like, yeah, it took like 40 years, but they did get some justice in the end, which is it's just interesting to watch the whole story, and that this documentary kind of brought this guy down who killed a bunch of people and never got any consequences, you know? So they can tell a story over there. So big recommend.
I'm gonna watch that. I think I said this at one point recently that I was like, oh, I should watch that. I'm gonna do it. Yeah. I'll simply remember The Jinx. Oh. Thank God for media, and thank God for sociopathic New York realtors. Am I right?
They give us a lot of content. You got to give them that.
That is the one thing we can give them, I think, is the amount of content. I almost did just ask Leah if she wanted to share something that was making her happy, even though it's not her week.
Leah's smiling the happy smile of someone who doesn't have to be happy for 2 more weeks.
Wow.
No, 1 more week.
1 week.
Did you go after
One more
me?
week.
Yeah.
Well, what if she showed up next week and said, I'm happy that I didn't have to say something that was making me happy last week? That's off the table now. You can never use that.
Can't wish for more wishes. Not appropriate.
No. Okay, we got to get down to business because the amount of stuff in this schedule today it's ungodly.
Yeah.
So we're gonna try and we're gonna see what happens. Okay.
Love it.
Let's start with little Adam Copeland. Big, he's large. Last week on Collision, Cope cut a promo about how Malakai asked for Bad Boy Cope, so he got Bad Boy Cope. And I think he ended by saying, or the point was, he said, he didn't say if this were a Disney movie. Allie, do better. But he was like, yeah, if this were like a happy ending type of deal, like we'd get married, I think is what he said. But it's a horror movie, actually. So instead, what I probably will do is win and indoctrinate your goons into my house of blood. And then he showed up to the pay-per-view in full Brood mode. We still don't know that much about the Brood, but we know that
We're learning.
We know there's blood involved. He came out through a special flame hole. He and Malakai had their big cage match. Cope won by choking Malakai unconscious. And in the middle, I can't believe I have to say his name this way. I've been saying it Gangrel, which I think is normal,
same.
but apparently his name is Gangrel. And
we also called him Grangle a couple times.
You know. Do you know what Jeff told me this week? Because he loves Gangrel, it turns out, which I also love Gangrel, so we had a nice conversation about it. But apparently Gangrel.
I've been hearing Gangrel.
Yeah,
Gangrel.
Gangrel. Apparently he got his name by stealing it from some tabletop game, which Jeff told me the name of, and now I forget. But so he did, and then he was going by Gangrel on television, and then he discovered that the tabletop game had never trademarked that name, so he trademarked it.
out from under them?
Out from under them, yeah.
Wow.
Have you ever heard the story about how the Bucks almost did that to New Japan about Bullet Club?
No, really?
Because
Nice.
New Japan forgot to copyright the Bullet Club, and as the Bucks went to go do something, they realized it, and they had this moment where they were like, I wonder how much trouble we would be in.
How many bridges?
What do you think that universe is like? That arm of the multiverse where the Bucks were little bad boys and trademarked the Bullet Club out from under New Japan. Do we still have AEW?
I'm worried, no. I worry.
Big questions.
Wow.
Well, anyway, Gangrel, he like punched through the ring. I mean, he came through a trap door, but there was stuff going on there where I was like, I don't think I understand how rings are made. I don't know what all the layers are really.
No, I was obsessed with it because it was like, oh, that's why they had to leave the cage, because they had to like cut the trap door.
Is that what happened?
Yeah,
I
they
guess
left
I just
the
thought
cage.
he brute forced. I mean, I left the world of shoot and I entered the world of kayfabe and was like, yeah, he just brute forced his way through the mat. Easy.
He dug
for
his
a
way out
vampire.
He dug his way out of his own grave before, so like
Exactly.
of course he can come right
all
through.
vampires must. Yeah.
Exactly.
I wish that they would do a behind the scenes on that, because I'd love to know exactly what happened, because I think like you and I were like, hey, are they allowed to leave the cage? I thought they weren't supposed to leave the cage. And then they got back and it was like, oh, it was so a trap door could show.
Well, we were being like, is this some classic Malakai bullshit where by leaving the cage, like, I don't know, we thought he was trying to get out of jobbing that way, but instead, I guess he got out of jobbing by passing out, although I wouldn't say that I fully understand
No, I don't
anything.
I don't understand that at all. So many people are like, yeah, Malakai wouldn't do the job, so he had to pass out. And I was like, that's crazy to me, because if I was given the option of faking passing out or getting pinned, I think getting pinned is way more like strong and normal than like fainting. Like,
Yeah.
babe, you lost consciousness. That's embarrassing.
It does make me feel like, do I not understand masculinity at all?
I genuinely don't think I
Well,
do,
I
because
No, go ahead.
no, it's just like all of the discourse is like, yeah, Malakai got away with another one, and I'm like, did he?
I guess no, because getting pinned, I'm trying to work through this and I really can't. Like, I guess I can understand if you submit, perhaps it is less masculine to admit. No, it's more masculine. Nope, I can't get there. So let's just say these three girls, we don't get it.
And if anyone out there wants to like email us like the principles by which like the tiers of masculinity and how
Yeah.
you get there,
I feel like this is something people are learning in like boys' locker rooms, and we've never been in there, so that's why we don't know about this.
yeah.
And we never will. What were your overall impressions of the match, which did have, I'll point out here, a really big jump spot that everybody said, what? Should he have done that? That's crazy. I don't think he should have done that. Is he okay? And he isn't, because he did break his tibia, and he'll be out for, I've said here, I think I was guessing at the time, 4 to 6 months.
I think that sounds about right.
sounds
Seems right.
I mean, when you
Yeah.
full on break your leg and he has to get surgery, yeah, it's pretty funny because it's like I think he just got carried away in the moment and then just jumped right straight onto his feet.
You think he hadn't You think he hadn't planned to do it?
I don't know. I just saw some talk where it was like, but maybe people just meant like the landing on his feet.
Yeah,
stuff.
it's
I
the
don't know.
landing. So I made Sarah explain this to me because
good.
everybody kept being like, "Oh, it's so stupid that he landed on his feet," and I was like, "How?" Like I couldn't visualize what he was supposed to do, and Sarah was saying like the move. Like the safest way to do the move is
Yeah.
to land directly on top of Malakai,
Yeah.
which like would suck for both of you, but you'd both be uninjured. But he tried to do something like he was going to do a fancier thing, which was an elbow drop, but he needed to land his elbow on it. And she thinks that he got scared at the top of the ring and backed off because he didn't want to hit his elbow on it. But then he just landed on his feet instead. But like he should have just
that's
he shouldn't have
crazy
done the
because
tricky
if
version.
I recall correctly, his elbow was very far from Malakai because his feet were close to Malakai. They are at opposite ends of his enormous body. And I'm sorry to shame him because I'm not shaming you, Adam Copeland. I really love you. I think you're great. And I wish that you hadn't broken your leg. And I'll love you when you get back. So it's not a shame thing, but I am not really understanding the physics.
Yeah.
I know. I was retroactively like, wow, Sting jumped off a lot of things and scared me, but never hurt himself. And
Yeah.
I feel like all of our sort of wrestlers getting into their 50s there need to sort of
Well, did
follow that
you
mold.
Let's be
did
careful,
you
guys.
Did you watch his little Twitter video about his injury? I almost lost it because there's a certain point where he's like, talking. He's like, I turned 50 and like, I got cocky, but my body reminded me. And it sounded like he was just talking around this concept. And I was like, I think he wants to say the body keeps the score. But he's not saying it. But that's what he means.
Do you think he was
keeps the score?
Purposefully avoiding saying the body keeps the score? Or does he not know
I think he was getting there on first principle.
Oh, he was inventing the body keeps the score.
Yeah.
That kind of checks out. I did think, and this is such an unfair little thought, but I'm like, okay, so this man jumped off the top of the cage and broke his tibia. And so then his tibia is broken. I've never broken a bone actually, but I'm like, did you kind of know that? Or like, can you tell like something's really fucked up or no?
He was limping out pretty intensely at the end. But it's crazy that he like finished the match.
Well, yeah, but then I also was like, it's so funny that he was like, and Malakai is not getting this belt. This is going down as planned. He's getting pinned. He can pass out if he wants to. But this belt is going somewhere else. And I do agree. Good for him.
Thank God. Imagine if he called an audible and we had like a couple months of Malakai as champion. I'd kill myself.
Yeah,
I think he's terrible. I forgot that he had the belt at one point.
Malakai did?
Not that belt. They had the trios belt.
Oh, yeah.
And it was hell getting it off him.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
There were days in there when I, not the booker, just sitting at home, thought, are we ever getting those belts back? Does he just have those now? Are those his? I think this is all. The sad thing is that we were having fun with the Brood. Agree?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was really looking forward to it.
I know. I love the Brood. And like Jeff again sent me like one of their entrances from like, 2000, whatever. And it was so like melodramatic and goth, and Christian and Cope both had like long blonde hair and they're both so tall. It's like crazy because they became friends in like 6th grade or whatever. Like, why are they both tall and lean and blonde? Like, why did they find a little twin to wrestle with?
Maybe they saw each other and thought, my little twin, and then next thing you know, you grow up and you still are twins and lovers.
I wonder how tall they were then. In some ways, like, I'm tall and my best friend is also the same height as me, and it is more comfortable that way. So it's like, maybe you just want someone around you that's around the same height.
Okay, and that's really hurtful about our friendship.
I know, but I see you on the old Zoom so much more often than I see you in person. So
it's like, if I had to see you in person more, your height would be a problem. Yeah, it's not what I'd prefer.
Wow, this is a hurtful Zoom.
Of course I would.
Ladies, we'll take this to therapy together. But yeah, we were enjoying ourselves. I like when the men are pretty melodramatic and insane, and
yes,
I really liked like that. The promo that Adam Copeland did on Collision, where he'd lit it so his own shadow was sitting on his shoulder, and then he was saying like, the demon on my shoulder, but no angel on this one. I was like, if I saw this in a movie, like, I might be like, wow, that's a little overdone. But in wrestling, I'm like, that's a shocking amount of attention to detail. I'm delighted by it that you've created. And he'd stolen Tony Storm's like crackly film gimmick. It was just like, this is crazy over the top. I would watch it forever. I mean, I don't know if I'd watch it forever, but I was excited to watch it. And now we probably won't get to. And it's unfortunate that Christian and Cope's loving reunion certainly too will also be on ice.
That is a huge bummer.
Our eyes are always on that goal.
Oh, I know. And someone said that Gangrel was their father lover back in the day, the two of them. So that's even more interesting.
And that guy is weird.
I
did go to his Wikipedia to learn a little bit about him. I'd love to share some of the things I learned. Those the teeth cost him $10,000 each, of course, because they're permanent.
And they're permanent installations.
They're permanent additions to his mouth. He has 4 ex-wives, and I think that many of them must have been while the teeth were in there, which I guess that's kind of like a fang banger. Like, that makes sense. And also, he briefly dabbled in directing pornography. But then he stopped doing that because he was worried that it would impact his wrestling career. And that's what I've learned about Gangrel. So
incredible. I love that he came out with like the 80s feathered hair and the like puffy shirt, which is like it's so vampire to just be like, yeah, you're straight off the set of The Lost Boys. Like, you got your style in the 80s, and you kind of...
Totally.
There you are.
That's a real Heathcliff, it's me, Kathy. Come home.
Yep.
Really delightful. Well, we'll see him if we see him, and not if we don't. Cope all our traditional best to you and your family. And I'm sorry for when it sounded like I was shaming you, okay? I'm sure you did your best jumping. Let's move on to talking about Mommy's Little Elite, who fought Team AEW at Double or Nothing. So this was the last match of the night, one of 3 main events, which is fine. I don't want to get into all that. And it was completely insane. It was so crazy. So all I'll say up front is that at the end, JB pinned Danielson for the win. Let's get into what we liked and what we remember, shall we?
Yeah.
Hit me, ladies.
Okay, the dueling jukebox stuff from the beginning with the, like, shut off the music, play our song, and then Danielson.
So fun.
It was so fun.
It's so funny for Matt to be like, you better sing along to our theme song. It's like, baby, it doesn't have words.
And then
you better make some up.
The final countdown being taken seriously is always still so funny, and
So
the crowd
funny.
popped for it so big. And then when Matt was like, "This is costing me $200,000 every time it plays," cut it off.
Then the crowd chanted, "We want music," until they got distracted again.
Mm-hmm.
Every time they play the final countdown, I am astonished anew at the idea that most people watching wrestling aren't just like, this is an Arrested Development bit. Like, I just cannot imagine that everybody isn't in a complete comedy headspace.
Something, when the crowd pops so big for it, it just suddenly, I don't know, every once in a while it just hits you, like, how fun it is to be in a wrestling crowd and get really excited for something like so stupid, but it's like, it's part of the ritual, it's part of the whole thing you're doing, and it's so fun and reassuring. So nice.
You get caught up in it.
Yeah.
I personally loved Darby and JB had some backstage action where they played around with kind of some waterboarding stuff. That's all I can say. What else can I say about it?
I mean, it's handy there's a little ice bath back there, and, you know.
Right where they needed it, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This spot made me feel so stupid afterwards because, like, literally everybody on the internet was like, oh, as soon as Darby came out with that flamethrower on Dynamite, I knew this was going to happen. And then when I saw the ice bath, I was like, there we go. And I was like, I had no, like, this is where I'm the world's stupidest girl, because I was just like, an ice bath? That's so funny. And then he came out later and I was like, he's still wet from that ice bath.
I know, they did execute it so well, though, because the ice pack was great cover for the flame retardant gel thingamajig. And then the whole thing, too, it's like when Cody set himself on fire, it looked so dumb and it didn't go perfect. You know, did they have trouble lighting it? I was trying to remember, like, what?
He sweated off a lot of his gel.
Yeah.
During the match.
He tried to wrestle the whole thing in the gel and then light himself later.
Yeah, but it, like, just didn't go off well, where this one, like, went off perfectly. And, like, I knew it was coming when I saw the fire extinguishers and stuff, but it was, like, it looked great. JB did a great job dancing around with it going, you know, perfect.
Yeah, I loved it. But I will say, like, I was, I think I'm going to sound so stupid. I was scared of the ice bath. For some reason, when he fell into it, I was like, my God, I hope he can get out quick. I was like,
did you think it was an accident?
Just as deadly as fire. No, I didn't think it was an accident, but I was just like, I hope he's on his game, because water can be just as deadly as ice. Some say the world should end in fire, if you know what I mean. But others do say ice, and that's me, I guess, because I was scared. So that's on me. Wow, it's difficult to know what to bring up. The Bucks did end up hoisting Darby up, so he was dangling over the ring, and
this did make me nervous. I thought they were going to really haul him up high, and especially, like, just when you hear Owen Hart's name early in the broadcast, you're kind of like, oh no, don't. But then they didn't. They just had him sort of at, you know, head level, which is fine.
Yeah, at a very safe low head level. I am going to send you guys something in the chat right now that I made for Darby.
So excited.
Well, I hope it sends.
Oh, it's still loading for me. God damn it. Oh, there we go. That's beautiful.
It says the
Thank
Darby
you.
Allin's Mommy's Little Spanish Ham for award for wrestlers.
And it shows Darby hung up like a leg of ham and a little leg of ham next to him. So
Post
he
that
is
to
the
Twitter, I hope.
I certainly will. He is the first ever to receive the award. And if I had to guess, he will be the last. He will be the only one to ever receive the Mommy's Little Spanish Ham Award.
But you never know.
never
Everyone else
know.
out there, it's there for the taking.
It's there for the taking.
When the crowd started chanting, "Please help Darby," when he'd been up there for a long time, it was so funny.
Well, that's how I felt too, because he had his he had come out for the match with his nose protection, face gear on. And so then eventually that comes off, and then he's getting super kicked with thumbtack shoes in the face. He's spinning around like a little Spanish ham. I just thought, where is his blood flowing to? Like, this can't be, it can't feel good inside his body. But then at the same time, he loves pain. So I'm like, maybe he really needed this because he couldn't go to Everest. Not that I think Everest was going to cause him remotely this much pain, or any, even, necessarily.
Yeah. I thought it was so funny, too, when he, bit Nick's face while he was hanging up there, and then Okada, went to break it up. But he just did the thing where, when wrestlers break up a pin, they just kind of, collide into them, and that, knocks it up. But so he just kind of, bopped Darby's back, and it, didn't work at all. It seemed like, I was like, oh, it's like he thinks it's, a magic trick. You just, hit the side of the ketchup bottle, and it comes out kind of thing. The teeth were in there, though.
Okada's face this entire time was so funny because he was just like, I'm game for anything, but this is the craziest thing that's ever happened to me, and I don't quite know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Well, there were many moments in this match where, the thing with the Jack crashing the scapegoat bus into Darby, and I think it was a bonfire kind of, whatever. They had a whole thing set up, and then it cut back to I think at least the Bucks, maybe Okada too, just looking like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
it was
too far
crazy.
even for them. Yeah,
yeah. This match was so delightful. And I'm gonna say something that I think I did see a lot of people online being like, okay, well, we might not be able to have the Anarchy and the Arena type match every single year because they can't keep pushing to top themselves, and it might get to be a little overkill. No, I need to see it every year. Every year I need to see men come up with 5 to 10 of the most deranged possible types of violence to do to each other in an interactive setting where they're just grabbing props from around them. I have to see it for my health. Please don't take it away from me. I need to see it.
I want to see the ketchup bottle squirting, the ice baths, the fire, the thumbtacks. Yeah.
We have so few joys in this life.
I know. Can't we enjoy
Donald
an
Trump
insane
could
match?
be the president from inside prison next year, okay? I'm going to need this match, okay?
My brother just sent something to the group chat, family group chat, where I thought it was going to be a picture of my nephew, but it was actually a screenshot of a Canadian immigration lawyer saying that now Donald Trump can't enter Canada.
You can't have a president who can't go to Canada.
No.
You'd think. We can't get into this whole thing. I read a New York Times article that they clearly had, they had locked and loaded, ready to go. That's can he still be president? I didn't like the number of times I read in that article. The founders had no precedent for this. They didn't take it into account when they were writing the Declaration of Independence, or they were writing the Constitution. The Constitution, yeah.
Yeah.
I thought, I think maybe they should have taken a few more things into account. They didn't think that any criminal would ever try to be president. Grow up.
It is a thing where, when you read, because I was doing a stupid PhD in ancient history, but when you read ancient laws, the thing you should take away from the law is this is a thing that happened, so they had to make a rule about it, and you don't really make a law for things until it's an issue, and that's kind of the situation we're in.
Yeah.
I guess so. Well, we better move away from that
Anyway.
and cut to on Dynamite. The Bucks, Okada, and JB came out into the ring, and the Bucks gave Okada a Lamborghini as a present. We saw this as a video. I immediately said he wanted a Kia. He wanted a Kia. He didn't want this expensive car, but he seemed
That's probably why he was crying.
Probably why he couldn't tell them, I don't like your kid. he seemed very happy and he was crying. And because Cope is now out injured, the Bucks stripped him of his TNT title, which I thought was beautiful little touch. And they tried to straight up give it to JB, but Christopher Daniels came out and said that Tony Khan actually gave him a new job, and his new job after the Bucks fired him is interim EVP, and he'll be playing the role of Tony on TV going forward, I have to assume, at least some of the time. Oh, yeah, we did see Tony rolling down a ramp in that. We can't get into all that.
Darby pulled him out before he got set on fire.
Yeah, he didn't get set on fire.
Or not Darby, JB pulled him out, yeah.
Yeah. We didn't even talk about the Bucks being fire marshals, which was so funny.
Oh, my God. When Matt fell on his little butt because he was fire extinguishing so hard. Yeah,
so sweet.
I loved it.
Can you believe that we enjoyed an FTR match that much? I barely saw them.
I don't remember them being there. The only thing I remember is I went, oh, they're wearing pants. And then that was the last I saw of them.
There was a long stretch at the beginning where they had all paired off the way they do in these matches, and Matt and Dax were paired off. And they were fighting, and I kept saying, this is bullying. He's bullying him. Like, I just was not in a good frame of mind about it because Matt Jackson is one of my special guys. And I was just like, this isn't fair. He's bullying him. He has to get away from him. I can't keep watching this. And then after that, he disappeared, and I don't recall seeing him again.
Yeah, just went off into the pit, I guess. I guess. It's great.
Anyway, so Christopher Daniels is interim EVP, and he said that there's actually going to be a series of qualifying matches leading to a 4-way ladder match at Forbidden Door, and the winner of that ladder match will be the new TNT champ. The Elite then tried to attack Christopher Daniels, but the Acclaimed came out for the save, which was mildly bewildering. But I guess they have been honing their civic impulses. They're
like, we got some free time. We can go out there.
I guess so. What'd you guys think?
I mean, if the Bucks have decided to rehabilitate the Acclaimed, no one else is ever going to be able to do it as well as they have. So and I used to love the Acclaimed, so I would love it if they would. But
I love that framing. I wouldn't have thought of it that way, but I love that you're they're my good boys, so I'm sure they're trying to rehabilitate this poor tag team that's down on their luck. And
we have to believe in
they once did
rehabilitation. I mean,
well, didn't we say that the Bucks needed the belt so that they could fix it? I'm like, this is part of it, babes.
I guess fix the division, yeah. So you're saying the division is made up of individual teams who all themselves must be fixed.
Yeah.
Well, when you put it that way, you're not
gonna
wrong.
Go to tag teams one by one. They're like, okay, this week the Acclaimed, and they'll probably get to Best Friends later in the summer, right? So when it's their week, and Dustin will come back, and the Young Bucks will fix it. It's not a problem.
Yeah, maybe they'll just go to Greg and they'll say, a tag team. This is the most sacred bond that you can have with another human being. And
no such thing as no-fault divorce for a tag team.
You cannot throw your partner away. Let's sit down together. You two, us two, Jim Ross. And we can get this fixed. We can figure this out together.
Exactly. You should be, as a tag team, you should be so close to being one unit that people forget that you're technically two EVPs.
Exactly.
That's what I want for the Best Friends.
Me too. I love the idea of they're having this therapy session and it's a closed door meeting. No one can just walk into your therapy session. And OC is outside pacing and hissing. I should be in there. I'm a part of this. They're like, we only work with tag teams.
It's a tag team.
Okay.
This
I don't
is
know
not
what to tell you.
This is not trios rehabilitation. That's being handled at a later date.
He just grabs Hook and he pulls him in here. He's like, we're a tag team. They're like, no, you're not. Get out of here.
You're not a tag team.
What's your tag team name? You don't have one. Out.
One tag team at a time. Okay.
Get in line when it's your week.
Exactly so. I liked all of this. I don't know that I have that much to say. I thought it was all very fun. I thought it was fun that the Bucks told the crowd to start chanting "You deserve it" at Okada about his Lamborghini. And again, this is the second or third time it's happened. The crowd cheerfully just starts doing it, and it's like, guys, they're heels.
It's
They're
so funny.
heels.
They'll
You're
be
not
like,
supposed
boo,
to.
boo,
Yeah.
boo. And then, oh, you want me to chant something? I'll chant it. Of course I'll chant it.
It's so perfect how they're like booing enthusiastically. They're like clearly booing, but the second they get given a chant, I honestly am like, this is the problem with our society. A good chant, yeah, it's happening.
That's what you're there for. That's why you go to a wrestling show. You just want to do a "you deserve it" chant, you know?
So few opportunities in this life to chant. Nobody is talking about this.
So true.
Any other thoughts on the Elite?
Their stupid robes made
Oh my
me
God.
so happy. The fabric, well, honestly, it must have been like, it felt like it was repurposed curtains. Like
It felt like. She means it looked like you didn't get to touch it. I'm taking my co-host's face in my hands. I'm reconnecting her to reality. You didn't touch the ropes. You only saw the ropes.
I saw it. And I felt it with my eyes.
Imagine if before every match, Leah was allowed to just touch the Young Bucks just before they went out there.
But like only over the clothes. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, just over the clothes. Just a
Well,
fabric
you just
feel.
Oh my
test
God.
the quality of the fabric. Yeah.
We have to bring up
Yeah.
we have the funniest YouTube commenter who makes us happy every single week. Who
We love
pointed
you.
out
So
who pointed out this week that the Young Bucks not only have been doing crimes with wearing way too many clothes, they now are talking JB into it and indoctrinating him into their never nude situation.
They're sick, never nude cult.
Sick.
Yeah.
Disgusting.
You hide JB from us?
Yeah, they hide his little body away. They hide all the bodies away. The only body we see in the Elite is Okada.
Yeah, and I hope he has the strength of mind to at least stay off the
Yeah, keep it that
shirt
way. Obviously,
train.
we like looking at Okada's body. It's a beautiful body.
It's a beautiful body.
Don't cover it up, but we
Right.
want to see four.
Yeah.
We'd
Yeah.
like to see four beautiful bare
Four
bodies.
beautiful bodies for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah. Oh, it's also really funny that JB drives the scapegoat bus by himself, alone in the bus, while Okada is in the backseat of the Bucks SUV. I love that for him. Oh my gosh.
It's a fun family dynamic. For the record, we didn't get to see any bare Young Bucks chests in this match. But at one point, and Leah was visiting me this weekend for Memorial Day, so we were watching on the couch together. And at one point, Leah sits upright like a little prairie dog, and she goes, "It's gaping, it's gaping, it's gaping." And I look at the screen, and Matt's vest has come half undone. And there was a period of at least 5 to 10 minutes in there where I could just kind of watch you tracking him on screen. I think at one point you were saying, like, one more button, one more button, one more.
I love how you become like a Victorian. Like, I see an ankle, I see it. I'm so turned on right now.
We got so close to heaven. We got so close. But it's fine.
Maybe when JR sits down with them and the other tag teams, maybe he can bring that
And
up too.
JR will say, boys, what's with the shirts?
What's with
Maybe-
the shirts?
If we get in JR's ear and we say the therapy is going to go better than it ever has if you just get everyone bare chested. The second they get in the door, say, get the shirt off. Just
Bare
get comfortable.
feelings, bare chests. You gotta.
Yes, Ian, yes.
That's what I always say.
We'll shoot him a little DM about that. Let's move on to talking about Will Ospreay. He and Roddy had their big, which is it? Is it the Intercontinental
It's
or the
international?
Why do I keep thinking Intercontinental? What's happening?
Because there's the Continental belt and the
Damn it.
International belt. Yeah.
Who has the continent? Who has the Continental?
Okada.
Okada.
Fuck, he does have a belt.
Yeah, you did. You did
Who did
do
he get
some.
that belt from? Pac. No.
No, Eddie.
He take it off Eddie. Yeah.
Eddie. Jesus Christ. Well, where did that? I don't
Well,
think
it shouldn't
I
be a
don't-
belt, is why you don't acknowledge it. It should be a statue of Nike.
because it was from the C2.
C2. Yeah.
It's the Connie belt. Yeah.
Oh my God, I just made a big noise with my hands because I was so despairing. Right, it shouldn't be a belt. That's why I don't know it. What were you going to say, Leah?
That you did do some math and realize that every single one of Tony's new special guys currently have a belt.
He's managed to give every new boy and girl a belt, which I did think was really funny when I realized it.
I think it's like so that people will stop hassling him about giving them the world title.
Honestly, I don't mind it. I think it's if he's giving out the lesser belts, I think it's fun for Tony to be like, my beautiful new boy, a belt for you. I've got a belt for you. I've got a belt for you. They've all got him now, though. Okay, so this was for the international title, and Ospreay did win. Callis tried to make him do the Tiger Driver in 91 in the middle of the match. He almost did. He had Roddy up. He didn't do it. And Ospreay then showed up on Dynamite in the Casino Gauntlet for a shot at Swerve's title at Forbidden Door, and he won that too. So he's on a wonderful winning streak, and that'll never lose. And as long as it never loses, line go up. And everything's going to be amazing. I'm channeling the male podcaster. Sorry, Ben. Everything's going to be amazing as long as Ospreay never lose. He never can lose.
Never lose.
Okay?
Straight to the top.
Straight to the top.
That's how the business goes to the top.
Exactly so. He carry it on his big, beautiful back. What did you guys think of the match?
It was good. I mean, the worst thing about Roddy is that he's a great wrestler. Like,
Amazing, yeah.
He's so infuriating and so annoying during promos that you're like ready to like ignore him, but then you're like, oh, it's fucking a good match. He's what Serena Deeb is to other people, where they're like, yeah, she's a terrible promo, but she's a great wrestler. And I'm like, no, but like Roddy is that for me, where I'm like, when he's talking, I want to stab him, but when he's wrestling, I'm like, oh yeah, like he kind of rules though.
Remember that like 1 month where what he was doing in promos was so perfect,
funny.
and then he just lost it all. But yeah, every time he wrestles, I'm like, oh right, and it happens like not infrequently, but I'm like, oh, this slaps.
He's really good, and it was a really good match. I really enjoyed it. There was that one moment where I thought that Ospreay maybe was dead. And that I enjoyed a little less. But mostly I liked it.
Yeah.
And I like Ospreay did a promo after this match that I can't remember a lot of the contents on, but I liked. He really like bigged Roddy up in the promo, like where he was like, you could have done it like if you just weren't, because Wardlow came and interfered and the Kingdom were prancing around interfering. He was basically like, why don't you trust yourself to do it on your own? Like, you're good. You should trust yourself. And it's like, I'd like to hear that a little more. I think that's a good angle to take. I've just felt so fondly towards him.
Yeah, and I thought Ospreay did a good job with the Tiger Driver of like conveying his like inner turmoil. Yeah. I mean, it was a little hammy, but in a I thought. So.
It's the best wrestling is often a little hammy. So,
and it was so funny for while Ospreay was going through that like distress for Don Callis to just be behind him going, he's already going to the hospital.
Don Callis, kind of a genius, yeah.
Yeah, it was a big night for Don Callis and a big week for him as well. We'll get to a little more of that later. Did you? Okay, I don't think we can get into this on the podcast. Can we? Did you guys see that tweet about someone seeing Wardlow eating alone after the pay-per-view? That made me really sad. I didn't like to read that. I said,
it is a bummer. Although maybe he was just like, I'm peopled out. I just want to go eat by myself.
Maybe. I hope it was that, or he had a friend in the bathroom or something. I didn't like the mental image. Like, I read the tweet or whatever, and I was like, I wish you hadn't tweeted it. Like, because he's never gonna, like, if he brought that energy to wrestling, I'd probably fall for him all over again. But
yeah, if we saw him eating sadly by himself at catering. Back on the Wardlow train suddenly. If he was wearing sad sweats,
Oh my God. A man eating alone, looking depressed, wearing like stained sweatpants. Yeah, of course.
Oh my God.
Of course we would be in for that.
He glances across catering, and over the way, he can just faintly hear Greg being like, and he's a fucking sociopath. Everybody agrees on that, right? Everybody agrees. And he's so lonely that he almost wishes he were stuck at that table, listening to Greg call OC a sociopath for the 100th time that night.
And everyone at that table is looking at Wardlow and thinking, I wish I was over there by myself. I really really wish they would do like little backstage bits where you just see people like talking in the background and maybe hear like a fragment or just like see what's up, see who's socializing together.
I agree.
Give me little stories I can elaborate on.
I just like
my head.
It's so fun to see a little moment and just be like, wow, what was going on there? You two talk?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So interesting. Let's quickly talk about the Casino Gauntlet match. So we had one of these a month ago, and this is a new format that they're doing that I do agree with many people online is really successful. I think both of them thus far have been pretty zesty. So as far as I understand it, men come out randomly. You don't know who. You just get, at intervals, you get a new man, and then they all fight until someone pins someone else or someone submits, and then the match is over. And it's pretty simple, and I like it a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was a little bit like, wait, they said 21, so 21 guys have to come out here, but it like wasn't moving fast enough. So, but I do like the however many guys come out.
Yeah,
come out.
I saw someone saying that there shouldn't even be a limit. They should just threaten you that like if the clock keeps going, who knows how many men they might be emptying the locker rooms.
The men will continue to emerge until morale improves.
Got 40 men in the ring, just like, well, this match is going to keep going.
That delights me. I would love it. They'll never do it, and I know they shouldn't because they get yelled at. But if you did it as the opening match one time,
and it just took the whole first hour,
the whole thing.
Yeah. It took the entire men's
show.
roster comes out. We get all the way down to like, I don't know who's our bottom of barrel man. Yeah, it's like Serpentico coming out, and he's just like, I don't even want to be here. We're like an hour and a half into Dynamite. It's like, that'll be really fun. They won't do it.
-1 has to wrestle. Yeah.
Amazing. Okay, so what was I going to say? Oh, what did you think of this specific Casino Gauntlet?
I do think that every Casino Gauntlet should feature like every man interacts with Jay White.
Yeah.
Because Jay White is always so funny in these.
Well, Ospreay and Jay White had such a funny moment where they did their Spider-Man meme thing again about like, you're here. And it's like, you guys don't see each other backstage? I love the conceit that you have just missed each other backstage this whole time. And every time you're in a ring together, you're like, hold up, let's chit-chat. Let's
How are things going?
Get into it.
What do you think of
how
America?
Did you end up here? How long have you been here? And then Ospreay also wanted to have a little chit-chat with Pac, too, which also set up a spot. I think first, like, I don't know why, but the little chit chat in ring gimmick, I was just like, this is so funny and delightful.
It's a great energy. And then like Ospreay and OC came out, and I wasn't expecting guys of like that level in the card to come out, so that was pretty thrilling. Where you're like, oh, I thought we were kind of more in a mid card situation. So
Ospreay was our final guy too, or not Ospreay. OC was the final guy, right? Yeah. Unfortunately, I did have to do the schedule a little out of order. So we'll get to what was going on with him that night a little later. But he was bandaged and he was mad. He was already not in a good mood. And he did get pinned by Will Ospreay.
OC being the one who got pinned also was like, ooh, this is interesting. Yeah. I like it.
Time to lose.
I also thought it was funny where like commentary was like, oh, this was Ospreay's partner just the other week. Like, I wonder if Ospreay will like not want to pin him because of like allegiance. And then like literally 3 seconds later, Ospreay was like, and you're down. You're beat. No hesitation.
We're not a real tag team. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Everybody knows we're two separate people. No one has ever been convinced that we're one person. What did you guys think about? So then Swerve came out at the end of this. Again, this is in the next section. I'm sorry, I fucked up. But Swerve came out at the end of this just to do a little, face to face, because the winner of this match is going to fight Swerve at Forbidden Door. So we have that Swerve Ospreay match set up. What do you think about the implications of that for the rest of the summer? What do you want to see? What are you scared to see?
I am pleased about it because I think Ospreay has to lose at Forbidden Door, and it'll be a really fun match. And then Ospreay won't be. All these podcasters are so desperate for Ospreay to win the title at Wembley, and he shouldn't. It's a bad idea. It would be better for him, better for Swerve, better for the promotion to put it off for a year.
I don't understand the desperation to have him win the title so quickly after coming into the company. I just don't get it.
Right. It's like, don't you want him to have like a story where you care that he would? I mean, it's like, obviously they care already, but it's like, shouldn't he have to go through something and not just get handed it?
I don't think they care about the idea of him. I'm sorry to speak of, as I've said here, genus IWC species male podcaster. Sorry to speak of you as a little lump. You all have different opinions, of course, and some of you have other special guys that aren't Ospreay, but many of you have a special guy who is Ospreay. I guess they don't care about him having a story. I mean, I think there are a lot of people who are just like, well, he's the best, so he should have the title. And it's like, well, he may be the best at fighting, but to me, he will not be the best at this art we call wrestling until I get to see him go on a little journey and change and learn things. And he's doing so good at it.
Yeah,
That's the thing I find a little frustrating, is that he showed up and, like, he could be coasting way more than he is probably on, like, you know, I'm the best, so I'm just going to be the best. But he is doing these story beats, and it does feel like they're going to lead somewhere. And that's fun and exciting, and it makes, like, I already really like him. Like, it makes, you know, you like him more. It makes you get more invested in him. It's good.
Right.
It's good for him to have growth and change as a character.
Right. Yeah. By the time he gets the belt, I want to be desperate to have him get the belt. I want to be, like, so invested in it. And it's like, it's kind of, it's like, I know Ospreay's their special guy, but, like, don't they care about, like, Swerve's story? Like, he's really, like, done a huge amount of work to get here and is amazing and doing good work. And it's like, I don't want to just, like, cut him off.
Right. You don't want to,
like,
you're right. You don't want to chop his story off. I mean, you don't want to just take the title off in Fast and Anyway, but you don't want to chop his story off. Like, he has his own stuff going on. Like, he has his own, you know, feuds and character stuff that he's working on. It's so short-sighted and annoying.
It is
very
really
annoying.
It is really extremely annoying because, like, a lot of times when I'm like, if anybody listened to your advice and, like, you know, did some of the booking stuff that you're talking about, it would be the most boring promotion in existence. Like, I don't know. There's a Star Trek movie, the one with the whales, where what's the face is like, it's better for me, it's better for you, it's better for them, about the whales, and that's exactly what I just keep thinking. waiting to crown Swerve, or waiting to crown Ospreay. It's better for me. It's better for him. It's better for all of us.
Oh man, I want to watch that again now. Yeah, I agree. Better for everybody.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's set Ospreay aside and let's talk about our actual champion that we actually have, and we hope he keeps his little championship for a while. Swerve fought Christian at Double or Nothing and won. This was the second to last match of the night, and there were a lot of ringside shenanigans going on during this match with the extended Patriarchy family and with Prince Nana, so people are kind of getting booted, or Prince Nana got booted from ringside and then later managed to come back to get, I believe, like Nick Wayne et al. Booted as well. So we had that kind of going on throughout the match. What did you guys think?
It was a lot of fun. I like this match. I enjoyed Nana. I enjoyed the Patriarchy. I enjoy when the crowd gets to sing "Hey, hey, goodbye." You know, like
oh yes. Oh, I forgot they did that. That was really fun.
Yeah. I know, it was really fun. Yeah.
Swerve also had a really good entrance. I should have said that with the Warriors come out and play. Thing that Nana did for him, and his gear looked really cool, and it was a really good presentation, I thought.
Yeah. He looked really, really cool, and of course he looked so juicy. He just continues to look better and better.
Yeah, incredible. I know, and I thought, like, he and a few people in this pay-per-view did great entrances. He and Mercedes especially, like, I thought really stood out. I like when people do a little theatricality there.
Mm-hmm.
We're at heart, we're theater girls.
We are.
We want to see your showstopper.
Yeah.
We want to see your opening number.
When somebody does something a little different and a little interesting, you're just like, oh, I know you, but not like this.
I know, and it's so fun when it's like based on like a movie. It's like, oh, Swerve has seen things that aren't wrestling. That's incredible, you know?
You know what? I had not thought about it that way, but you do love to be reminded that somebody is drawing on pop culture references outside of the world of wrestling. That is so true.
Yeah.
People, you know, this is not, for some reason for me, this is in the same category of kind of dystopian. I was like, wow, it's funny that people aren't drawing on Mad Max more in the world of wrestling, actually.
Yeah.
But I bet they were in the 80s. Someone's going to tell me that was really big in the 80s and 90s or something. All right. I really liked this match. I feel bad saying it but I liked all the interference. Like
I did
too.
Yeah.
A sports entertainment girl.
Yeah.
But I just had a lot of fun. I know I didn't recap it that well, but it's like I was in the moment being like, oh my God, and he did that, and I don't know. I really liked it. I didn't think it was overbooked. I liked it.
No, it was fun. It was interesting. Like, I don't know. Like, it's crazy that they were, like, people were criticizing it, because I'm like, sometimes I think things are overbooked to hide that, like, the wrestlers aren't that good, or that, like, you know, somebody's like, it's camouflage for something. But that was so clearly not the case here. Like, Christians were wrestling at top level while all that stuff was happening. Like, I don't understand. Sometimes people are criticizing it, and I'm like, it's almost like they're anticipating a criticism someone else is going to make. And I'm like,
very real.
Do you really think that, or did you have fun? Because I think you had fun, because it was a fun fucking match.
It was a really fun match. And to me, it really made sense, too, that it's like, it had been a very long night. I mean, by the time this match ended, it was where, like, the whole thing usually would end. This went really long for one of the pay-per-views. And Christian and Swerve didn't have a super long build. They'd only had 3-4 weeks. They hadn't gotten into it that deeply. I mean, they were doing the payback thing, like, for your past crimes. We got some dad and family stuff getting thrown around, but they didn't dig into each other's souls. So I thought it was effective to be like, the crowd's going to be really tired. Like, let's get some a little more narrative in this match than just the whole stuff that I don't always follow that closely. Like, that'll keep people involved. And I thought the crowd seemed really into it. Yeah. I don't know. I liked it, and I think I feel defensive because I don't want to be called a stupid girl for thinking that it's kind of fun sometimes to have a lot of shenanigans. I like them sometimes.
I know. Well, sometimes those complaints, like, it makes me feel like people just watch it really differently than I do, or have really different priorities, because there's
true.
Which is fine. But it's to me, interference is kind of like what wrestling is, and it doesn't bother me at all. And so,
if I didn't want interference, I think I'd watch MMA. I don't know that much about it. Maybe they can interfere in MMA. I don't even know that.
Yeah, and when people get real concerned about winning clean or not and stuff, and it's like, oh, I don't, because I'm not always thinking how tough is this person when I'm watching. That's not a top priority for me. So it doesn't really bother me if they didn't look tough enough or whatever. So
Right.
And I do care about, I care about the winning clean stuff sometimes, I'm sure I've said it on this podcast plenty of times, but in story beats, I care about it being clear, who is moral and who is, that kind of stuff. I just didn't see that as being an issue here because, like Leah pointed out, they were fighting really well the whole time, and ultimately, everybody who was causing problems ended up being ejected. This didn't feel like the Mercedes Willow thing we'll get to, where it was oh, this impacted who won. It just was stuff that was happening. I don't know. I liked it.
Yeah.
Sue me.
I'm here to have a good time, and it was fun.
Yeah. Then on Dynamite, Swerve, I didn't do myself a favor here. Well, he fought Luchasaurus in an HBO House of the Dragon tie-in match, and he did win, obviously, and then he cut Luchasaurus's braid off, and I got really distracted by whether this was real hair or hair. When he was lifting it, it looked kind of like it was just attached to the mask, so... And then I got kind of not freaked out, but suddenly I was like, do I hate hair? Do I hate looking at hair? So I went on my own journey with this, but I thought it was fine. I had a good time.
I got more excited than I should have, and I had to come down a little bit because I actually thought that Swerve was going to do the same thing as the one time I've ever been amused by FTR was when they cut the horn off of.
Yes, I love that.
I love that, and so I got so excited where I was like, "Oh my god, are they gonna? Is that what he's about to do here?" And then he just cut off the hair, and I was like, "Oh well, that's not that fun."
I do like thinking, like, what if Luchasaurus was just like, it's time for me to, like, cut my hair short. And so it's like, hey, Swerve, you want to, like, cut off my braid in the match and I'll get it cleaned up later?
Who cut off Wardlow's? Who was that? Was that Joe?
Oh.
It might have been. Now I'm just thinking about Wardlow's dead dad and how his hair related to that.
That's why I did the same thing where I was like, wait, was that also Christian? Because of the dead dad thing? But I think it might have been Joe.
I have no memory, but who was it who one time booked a hair versus hair match and then pawned it off on one of them?
Yeah. Who did it instead?
It was Ortiz.
Oh
my God, right.
That was real,
that
like,
was so
Matt
funny.
Hardy, you coward.
Put more points on the board. I'm fucking racking them up this week.
Leah has had an absolutely wild week for remembering facts about wrestling. She's putting me to shame. So, okay, yeah. But anyway, he cut some hair off, and that was fun. And, I didn't go find it. He and Nana had a backstage promo that I do remember really enjoying, but I cannot replicate the content of.
Yeah, I liked it, but I can't really remember what they said either. It was fun. Luchasaurus, I was a little bit like, are we keeping the Christian thing going? Which I would be into, so I'm not opposed to it, but I'm not sure that's what they're doing or not.
No, I didn't really understand that at all because I was like, that was a really great blow-off match. I don't know that they need to do more, so I don't know why we're doing this, but I'm also
I think
not
it was
mad.
just for corporate synergy, and I do try not to get mad at them for their corporate synergies. Like,
they've had a lot of
they
corporate
did that.
synergy lately.
I think it speaks to a good relationship with the media company that owns them.
Good, yeah.
Not owns them, but that they are with. But what do I know? I'm not an analyst.
Allie, do you have some intel on how the deal is going that you'd like to share?
What have your sources told you, Allie?
I would never betray my sources.
Our sources were so careful about them that you'll never hear information that they've given us. So.
Imagine any of us having a source and we get one here and we're like, yeah, I heard something really interesting this week. And then there's just a long pause where we're kind of looking around like, unfortunately, I don't remember it anymore. But at the time, I was thrilled. You'll just have to imagine how thrilled I was to learn it.
Was it about, it was someone's new gear. Whose new gear was it?
God,
they told me it sounded great.
We honestly would be like the safest people ever to tell wrestling scoops to because it would be equivalent into like,
it's like whispering into a hole. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Like it's like
safer because in the stories the hole eventually whispers back.
That's so true. Yeah. Yeah, if any wrestlers want to jump in our DMs and just whisper anything to us, we'll never betray it to a soul.
If you have things that you're dying to get off your chest and you just want to put them into a black abyss somewhere, it's our memories.
Put them in a bottle and throw the bottle into the sea. That's how you should think of us.
We really only want the low stakes stuff too. Yeah. Like I'd like to know, like, what do you guys enjoy doing your corporate synergy matches? What's the vibe in catering? Yeah. Who are the two funniest friends backstage? Like that you're like, it's crazy that they are best buddies, but they love each other. Yeah. Just that kind of stuff.
Any sexual tension between people that's going on for sure. Yeah.
Of course, we're always interested in that.
And obviously Darby's Tent City. If you have any information
Desperate
about that.
for Tent City scoops, obviously. So I think that probably pretty much covers it. Reach out anytime.
If anyone else is living in strange circumstances or doing anything weird, we'd love to hear about that as well.
If you're a wrestler, if you're just a normie, I mean, you can share if it's interesting enough.
I still want to hear it. If anyone's living in strange circumstances, I want to hear it whether you're a wrestler or not. Yes, there's a slightly higher level of interest if you're a wrestler, but it's not that much higher. So
if it's really weird, we want to hear it regardless. Yeah.
I certainly want to know. Anyway, so Swerve is going to fight Ospreay at Forbidden Door, as we said. I'm assuming that we'll get some build for that over the course of June. Aside from that, very happy, liking the vibes, having fun.
Yeah, and I feel like the Swerve Ospreay thing must be kind of like a last minute change because it is wild for Ospreay to have the international belt, but then be put in this match. Like I assume they probably had someone from a different promotion to fight Swerve for Forbidden Door originally, but that's fine.
I never have any.
We got no sources. This is based on nothing.
We've got no scoops and we've got no beef. Okay. Let's move on to talking about the TBS title. So Mercedes and Willow Mercedes and Willow fought for the belt at Double or Nothing, and Mercedes won. Let's briefly touch on Mercedes' entrance and her pre-entrance package. Did you guys enjoy the Women Can Do Anything Ruth Bader Ginsburg video package?
I loved it, and I thought it was insane. But also, you thought it was somebody else. Like, you thought it was who did you think it was a package for? And you were like...
Oh, my God, right. I wasn't sure who was coming out, because they did that thing where they, like... I think they did, like, Swerve stuff and Swerve Christian and Mercedes Willow stuff maybe at the same time in the pay-per-view. And then it was like, and one of them will come out. And I did think it was a package. I guess I thought for Swerve. Could that be right? Who did I think it was a package? There was someone that I was just like, wow, that's crazy, but I guess. And it made more sense when it was Mercedes, a woman.
It was very funny. I can't imagine it was anything other than heel stuff, but like it was just so funny.
I was stuck in the same place that I have been with Scorpio Sky's Sky Rizzy commercial, where I like was watching it being like, is this like a complete joke, right? Or is it not? I think it is, but I'm not watching Better Off Ted, so I'm not 100% sure.
Better Off Ted had the best fake commercials.
They were so funny.
God, that show's so funny.
I know, I gotta rewatch that. That really was canceled before its time. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I wasn't, don't call me stupid, okay? But I wasn't 100% sure. And then Mercedes and Willow they fought. This was our first time seeing Mercedes fight for real, aside from like light scuffles. It was really good.
Yeah.
Guys?
I thought it was really good.
It was really good.
She's good.
And the internet was so crazy about her. It was great. Like, and I don't understand. I felt like I saw a range of reactions of people being like, this should have main evented, wrong. And people being like, this was a disappointment and she sucks ass. Also wrong. Why are people insane?
People have been so weird about her since she's gotten here, and I don't, well, I mean...
Yeah, we understand some of the structural systemic issues at play here. She is a black woman. Like, that absolutely is a huge factor in the way that people are receiving her. And I agree. Like, I rarely understand responses that I'm seeing about her where I'm like, well, she seems good. She seems fine.
Totally wild. Yeah, and it was so fun to see her wrestle, and it was, like, such a good match. Like, it's always funny to watch these matches and be like, well... I am an idiot who is bad at knowing about moves and knowing about match layout and stuff and just like kind of get vibes. But I'm like, this is, and then I'm like watching our group chats being like, what are the men saying? It's not just men. I do know some women who also I would trust on this, but it's like, what are the experts saying? And they're like, this match is good. And I'm like, okay, good. Cause like they were moving really fast. It felt really like fluid. It felt really intense. It felt like they were hitting each other hard. I was like, I think this match is amazing.
Yeah.
But
I was nervous as it started because I have dance mom energy, to be clear. Yeah. So this is how I feel about everyone performing ever. I start out nervous where I'm just like, I need to know that you can hold me and that you will not drop me in this dance of watching art.
The stakes were so high because people have been so critical of her this whole time over nothing.
They put her in a place that she had to deliver a banger. Otherwise, like, the world would fall down. And thank God she did, because that was so deeply unfair. But I agree. I think there was, like, an awkward move early on.
It was the rope stuff. There were two ropes moves really, really early on where I was like, I'm nervous because that didn't look super fluid. Yeah. Like, I'm not sure what's going on. And then after that, everything was great. Like it felt like a real cool, like solid, as you said, fast moving fight. It was really delightful to watch. I was thrilled to read a little bit about the psychology of the match online because I can't say that I did amazing at following it myself. They were working limbs. Well, she had the injured limb, so of course Willow's working that. But then Willow had an injured limb. She worked as well. So they worked each other's limbs really well and thoroughly.
It's always so funny when people talk about working limbs because it just sounds like it's a massage therapist or a chiropractor.
Like, how relaxing.
Yeah, I'm just working the limb. Really getting in there. Yeah, I thought Willow looked great too. Yeah. Like she looked so solid. Like, I thought Mercedes has been like such a like generous like partner,
Love
you
it.
know, or it's, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
but it really makes me like her a lot because I'm like, she's
Yeah,
made
definitely.
Willow look great. And I mean, Willow also is pulling her own weight.
No,
and
but it's a
doing the
team
work,
effort.
but-
It's collaborative.
Yeah.
Like, and it definitely felt like she was making sure that Willow came out of the match
Yes.
looking strong and wasn't trying to get one
Yes.
over on her the way we
Right.
often see, especially the man.
Well, and
Yes.
that's what has made me so frustrated about people trying to cast this situation as Hangman Punk Redux, where I'm like, it's so clear that
That's
like
so
this is
crazy to me.
nothing
Yeah.
like it. That
No.
Mercedes is working really hard to make sure that Will came out of it looking like a beast. Like
Yeah.
she has gotten a lot of like the build up stuff in the lead up. The match looked fantastic. She got protected, like, you know, not to use wrestling lingo, but like
it's so important that we learn to use wrestling lingo. We love
wasn't-
talking about people being protected. Who covered who? It's not horse talk. That's what
We love
happens
it.
in wrestling, professional wrestling.
But like it's so clear that like Mercedes is not like stepping on people's backs to get
Yeah.
anywhere. So I'm like,
Yeah.
until she does something actually
Yeah.
wrong, can
Yeah.
you guys please take an extreme chill pill?
Be cool. I know.
don't-
And it's like the women's division as a whole has been booked so much better, has gotten so much more time
Yes.
since she's been here. Like she's clearly like really helping out all of the women here and like making Willow look great. Like clearly came in wanting to elevate Willow, which is fantastic because Willow really deserves it. But it's like, why is the IWC talking about how much, like, they're not talking about the women's division's improvements hardly at all, and it's
No.
ridiculous. Like, why are we not talking
agree.
about that
It's
all
weird.
the time?
Mercedes is getting so much blame for stupid shit, but no praise. I
Yeah.
mean, she showed up, and the lesbianism in this
Oh my
TV
God.
show has skyrocketed. Nobody's
Yes.
giving her credit for that.
True. And is it causation or corration? That's not our business. Okay?
That's not our business.
We just know that
and
they
it doesn't
happen
seem
at the
like
same
the pot. It doesn't seem like it's the male podcaster's business either, to be honest.
No, seems like they have no interest in it. Like I think I said the other day in one of our group chats, it's like they can't even see best friends and women content.
Yeah.
Like they're just like there are no stories, and it's like, well, there's actually quite a few, and like for some reason you have no interest in them.
Right. You just
Yeah.
don't like them.
Yeah.
I agree. It's like, to my mind, Mercedes has been completely inoffensive, and now that we've seen her wrestle,
Yeah.
has been great. Now
Yeah.
I have to say, watching her wrestle really helped me because I didn't dislike her at
Yeah.
all, but
Yeah.
she is a slightly stiffer promo than I tend to gravitate towards, and like she does love her catchphrases, and so I was like, you know what? It's not a problem. You say anything you want. You come out, you do your promos. I can't wait to see you wrestle, and then I'll have more of an opinion.
Yeah.
I saw her wrestle, and now I like her. And she came out for her celebration on Dynamite, and she did her catchphrases. And I said, she does love catchphrases, but I'm so fond of her. She just loves her catchphrases. It's not a crime. My heart was so soft.
I know.
Yeah.
This is the MJF thing, right? Like you're allowed
Yeah.
to do dweeby annoying shit as long as you're entertaining about it. And
Yeah.
so for Mercedes, she puts out an entertaining wrestling match. So fine.
Yeah.
We just can't future
big up.
cast crimes that
Yeah.
she might commit in
Yeah.
future. It's
No.
not our business. The future
No.
is not our business. We live in the present.
No, simply is not.
Okay?
Simply is
Yeah.
not.
We only
please-
can weigh in on things that have happened.
And if everyone could just like look within their hearts and say, if a white man was doing any of this, would I be normal about it? And then maybe act normal. That would
Yeah.
be real chill.
That is
Yeah.
so real. Yeah.
I really need people on the internet to think about the things that they are saying about Mercedes and Swerve. Just really look at them and say, does anybody need me to say that thing? And then maybe don't say it.
Yeah. And if you're feeling like there's just something I can't put my finger on that I don't like about them, maybe you should do a little introspection.
Yeah.
You want to work on yourself. And I'm not saying that
Keep
everyone.
moving your finger until it hits a target. Okay.
And obviously, like,
can't
I'm not
find
saying that
it.
like everyone who dislikes
No.
them, like that's the reason. But I do think systemically, as a group, maybe people could.
Yeah.
stand to do
I
a
mean,
little.
obviously, you just always do need to be like aware of the fact too that everyone is susceptible to groupthink. If you see people saying things that they are saying, like, because of kind of like free-floating, pervasive, systemic prejudices, then you just kind of onboard them sometimes, and you just don't really think about, like, is everybody getting the same energy from me? Because I'll tell you the answer is no. Everyone is not getting the same energy. Anyway, so we enjoyed the match. In the middle of the match, Mercedes, now I had to take this from Manolo, took a cheap shot at Chris Statlander, and I didn't quite remember the moment where it happened. Can anyone conjure up? No, it doesn't matter. Okay. Stat tried to hit back. She ended up distracting the ref while Willow was pinning Mercedes. So Willow really got to like a 5 count, but the ref wasn't paying attention until, she'd already gotten a 3 count basically, and Mercedes ended up kicking out. So we had some like weird vibes on the outside about like who was doing what on purpose, who was mad at who. After Willow lost, we had an in-ring segment with Stokely and Chris, where Chris seemed really... Stokely was mad at Willow for losing. Chris was mad at Stokely and knocked him over. And then she was helping Willow to the back, and then on the ramp, she turned on her, and she hit her own friend. She clotheslined her. She clotheslined her, I believe. That's the term. I believe that's the move that she used. And now she is evil and a bad girl. We did get a promo about that on Dynamite this week. And Leah, do you want to produce the line that you produced for me that I had no memory of?
I think I'm right. I did this by memory,
I bet you are.
Not like look it up. Didn't she say something like everyone treated me like a bodyguard, but now you'll have to guard your bodies from me?
She actually said, I went back and rewatched it after I saw you say that, and she said everyone thinks of you as a protector, and now you'll have to protect yourselves from me, which is slightly more normal.
It is slightly more normal.
But what you said
I really liked
in
Leah's.
sense accurate, though. I mean, it is a paraphrase, but I loved it.
Yeah. Yeah,
I mean, it was a good promo. She and Stokely, like, were doing great work together. I was just so impressed with how much better Chris has gotten at promos. She seemed really confident. She was really fluid. Like, the stuff she was saying made sense. Incredible.
I hope she's been going to Greg's school of heel work. Yeah,
the room. Yeah,
the room, Greg's room. I love imagining that there's just a generic room, but then there's also Greg's room, and he's written that little sign himself.
No OCs allowed.
No OCs allowed. Oh, he mad. I really liked all of this. Obviously, it had been built up really well. The one thing I will say about it is that, and it's like, I understand this is the nature of the beast. This is what we're watching, okay? But sometimes it is really funny to me and a little silly when the heels, right before they turn, are doing such intense play acting for no one, where it's like, who is this performance? Or like when Chris is performing Innocence for Stokely and like that kind of stuff. Sometimes I end up in a place where I'm just like, I love you. I love your theater. It's a little funny. I'd love to sit down and talk through like, what were you going for here? And the thing that actually I liked so much about Greg's heel turn was how pretty organic it felt. Like when it came to a head, it didn't feel like I had a big plan where I was like acting and acting one way and then acting another and then hiding stuff. In the moment, it was just like, I've fucking had it. I got so close to being fed up, and now I am fed up, and now I'm about to act insane for a month because I am crazy because of you, and now I'm a heel. To me, that is slightly more what I prefer.
Yeah.
But it's true. Like a lot of times there's a heel turn where it's like, when you take a step back, you're like, so your plan was, and it's always like to like become a tag team with them and then like hit them with the chair when they're not looking. But it's like, you could have hit them with the chair. You didn't have to do like 20 minutes of being nice to them first. Yeah,
I know. And you know what? Again, like I do think that is just wrestling. I understand that's so much of wrestling. There was another moment on the pay-per-view, the moment where Buddy and Bronk stepped away from Malakai's side and aligned themselves at Cope's side like they wanted to be in his house of blood, but then they immediately return on Cope. And it's just like, again, what were you just trying to do? Demoralize him? Like, you're in the middle of an extremely physical match. Like, I doubt that's going to be the breaking point. That he doesn't get to have Buddy and Bronk on his side. It's fine, probably.
That legitimately kind of made me mad because I was like, oh, that would be so cool if Cope took the Bronk and Buddy. And I was like, that's the first time I'd ever been interested in Bronk and Buddy. And
I would basically consider that to be a CPS intervention for Bronk and Buddy. And I don't even like Buddy. And I barely like Bronk, actually.
I am just thinking of them as like horrible twins now, like since we made that joke the other week.
I know.
But there's a lot of times too with that heel acting where you're like, that was for my benefit, me, the audience, like, but it was like a 2-second fake out, like you think I'm a little baby, like.
And then the heels rarely address like the audience saying like, this is what you thought of me. Like, this is like, they don't tend to, I think MJF actually kind of does sometimes, but he has his own, we'll get to that. But, yeah, you often end up just feeling a little lost about how the pieces were supposed to go together. So it's fine. I'm very excited for Chris's heel life. I certainly hope that she is in Greg's room and that she and Greg maybe do some evil mixed tags, that they try to wreak havoc on each other's enemies, like maybe a little strangers on a train, like I'll beat up your guy, you beat up my guy for a change, just to keep it spicy. Love it, excited. I laughed a little.
It was great. It was absolutely great.
And the final thing we'll just mention here is that Mercedes, we can't get into the whole thing, but I think she's going to fight Stephanie Vecker from CMLL for at Forbidden Door. And I just want to say, this woman, when she came out, like they did a video package to introduce her, which I thought was a little funny because I said, you're tired of getting yelled at about these video packages. I never thought we needed them. And I don't think we needed this one really. But it was fine. She came out. I'm obsessed with her look. I love her look. And then I was sitting there like, how would you describe why you love her look? And I was just like, long sleeve shirt, long and tucked in, long pants. And then I was like, why do you sound like super conservative or something? Like you're just like, she didn't show any nasty skin, but I just think,
modesty. I love modesty.
The Young Bucks have brainwashed
she was kind of butch.
Oh my.
So.
It's like the opposite of the Young Bucks section in here now. Just like, I loved her because she was wearing long sleeves. And Matt Jackson, take it off.
You just never get to see it. Like, she came out and it was like, I was like, is this how other people are responding to Rhea Ripley? Like, that is a stern mommy. That is my mommy. She is going to be mean to me, but I will like it.
I liked her little makeup down the side and lip super shade too. Great presentation.
I loved it. All right. Let's move on to big event of the night. Adam Cole came out at Double or Nothing to give a little speech, I think, about how he doesn't like Las Vegas or Las Vegans. I don't know what you call them. And then he got cut off by a video of a kind of a trophy room vignette ending in the live return of MJF, who came out to the ring, hugged Adam Cole, kneed Adam Cole in the yam bag region. And then MJF cut a promo about just various stuff about how people have responded to him and his kind of grievances. And he has an AEW tattoo on his ankle and he'll never love again. And he's not fucking leaving. And then he left, but just from the promo, not from the promotion. What did you guys think of, first of all, MJF's new look? Did you like it?
The thing is that I remain, like, not really mad at MJF. I'm like, I think that, like, some stuff went kind of bad, and I think you probably learned a lot of fun lessons, and hopefully those will stick, and that's cool.
So important to learn lessons.
So important. I'm glad he's back. I'm ready for him to be back. a lot of this stuff was very funny, and I just kept being like, "Oh, you're really yourself," you know, like you. There's nobody as MJF-y as MJF is. So good for you.
I think you're doing. No one looks like Gaston. No one. Anyway,
he's wearing his Triple H jacket look. His hair is new, I would say. I didn't.
Those follicles were not on his scalp 6 months ago. I'll say that for free.
Yeah.
And it was a real dry look.
He had not taken care of those brand new curls. And I think if you go to the trouble of implanting them, I do think, like, just get some high-quality products. Or you can get good drugstore products, honestly. It doesn't have to cost a lot. If you're watching your wallet, MJF, we can moisturize those curls. So
I feel like you're talking to him and Kenny.
Honestly, that's the other thing. If any wrestlers ever want hair care tips, okay, if you message us at our email address, tunneltalkpod@gmail.com,
especially
for hair care
curly-haired
tips.
boys
Curly
and
hair
girls.
is the big thing. We got a couple of curly girls here. So
Kenny, MJF.
Yeah.
Who else is back there? There's a lot of them.
There's a ton of them. Listen, if you reach out, we will never tell anybody that you contacted us.
That's true.
But we will give you recommendations. Okay? And we can point you towards resources across the internet. Blogs, TikToks, YouTube accounts. Okay? So that's a standing offer. Just give us a call. What do you guys, I wish that some people would weigh in as well. I thought his body looked very streamlined compared to the way it was looking at a certain point. I liked seeing the body a little smaller.
Yeah. This felt like when he came back, when Greg came back from Anarchy in the Arena.
Yes.
No, Arcade Anarchy, and he took off his shirt, and we were like, "Oh, he's off the steroids."
Yeah, we said that. Thank God that titty is not going to pop again.
Yeah, and I think MJF probably had something similar where it was the hairline thing where it's like, it's a little safer to get off the old juice there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I thought he looked good. I thought the body looked good. The body looked good. I didn't think the body looked good.
My heart is open. I haven't thrown this man in the trash, okay?
Yeah.
I loved MJF back when he wasn't taking up huge swaths of dynamite every week. I think that, and this is not it's like I myself as an artist benefit from guardrails. It can be so important, especially for a young artist, to have guardrails, to not just be given full call.
Yeah.
The full call, and the last call.
That's actually, like, I am trying really hard to keep my heart open. I do often like MJF and don't want to throw him in the trash. And I was feeling ready for him to come back. I did not love this because a long in-ring promo and a pay-per-view is just something we never do. And I felt like the lesson of the end of the MJF reign, which did not go well, was like, cut it back. Don't take up so much time. We've got a lot of promos running long. So the fact that we were doing it again, even though he was saying, like, I'm not going to do the stuff that annoyed you guys. Although then he named a bunch of stuff that actually I kind of liked, like,
I know,
crew kick and stuff. So I was like, don't throw out funny with the trash. And so that was like a little bit like, oh boy, I hope he doesn't take over Dynamite again. But we'll see where it goes. Because I think also he had like a very like desperate energy, like a little bit manic, where I was like, he has... the internet criticism has gotten to him, and hopefully he'll kind of like settle down once he gets back in the groove. Because I thought the energy was a little stressful.
Yeah, but almost in a way, like, I was very interested in it from an art point of view, and I understand that, like, it's, wrestling is very, like, loosey-goosey on who's doing art and who's having a genuine mentee be in the middle of the ring. Yeah. But if you take that promo as all completely kayfabe and intentional, it is very interesting to me that everybody was like, oh, we got old MJF. That sucks. It sucks that we're going backwards. And I was like, I read it as MJF wants you to think that he's gone. Like he's like, no, this is old me. And I'm like,
I'm fine.
Didn't come
I'm fine.
I'm fine. I'm back. Don't worry about me. I'm back. I'm mean and I'm bad heel guy. And I'm like, you have an incredibly desperate energy. You are like you've got a different like whole look. You like are shaking with how like hard you're like trying to get all these words out. And I'm like, assuming this is all kayfabe, I'm like, I think that you are spiraling, and that's fun.
Yeah, and
it would be fun if he does a spiral storyline for sure.
Yeah, and it's like I think that we just won't know for a while whether MJF the performer has decided about his character, like he has been impacted by forming the first real friendship of his life and being betrayed, or no, I'm retconning that and I am just old MJF. Because to me, I'm like, well, it's a really normal story beat for somebody to get betrayed or like, you know, feel betrayed and be like, okay, great, I'm back to the fucking asshole you hated before. I will never love again. I will never love again. You will not fool me again. Like, you know, the snapback is a pretty normal narrative beat. I'm certainly not saying that that's definitely what he's doing. I think we could watch him for 3 months and totally be like, yeah, he's just kind of doing the same thing. He retconned it, but we don't know yet. So I'm interested to see what happens.
Yeah.
And we will. And we will have no choice but to see what happens. Okay?
Once again, this podcast confidently says we'll make a judgment about that when we give it a little more time.
Our favorite thing to say, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. It's like, and yet you never seem to come to the bridge. No, we do eventually make judgments. We do.
Yeah.
We do.
But it is very funny that we regularly get on a weekly podcast and say, I don't think I'll have a hot take about that.
I think that more people should be doing it, honestly, because all I'll say is that I think some internet personalities and podcasters would not like it if I went back and recorded a full year's worth of their hot takes. That's it.
Yeah.
I don't think you would like it. I wouldn't like it if you did it to me, even though I try to be circumspect and be like, well, I could be wrong. I don't know. Maybe it'll work. I don't think you would find that you have the success rate that you think you do. Okay? Yeah. So it's okay to sometimes just say, well, we'll find out. Mm-hmm. Let's move on to our special topic for us. Greg and OC had their big mean blow-off fight at Double or Nothing, and they were both so mad and upset. And they came out in new dark gear to reflect their hurt hearts. Mm-hmm. And they immediately, when they started fighting, they were slobber knockering. They were, or as Manolo says, hockey fighting. I love when Manolo brings up hockey fights. I say, you're so right. A hockey fight is pure animal rage. They were not happy. No. OC did end up winning this match. He ignored some of Don Callis's mid-match advice and won. Greg looked devastated, fucked up. He looked like he didn't know who he was anymore. Lexi Nair tried to interview him on the way out. He just kept saying, I'm done. I'm done. He made like he was going to exit through the crowd, like he wasn't even going to go back to catering to complain to anybody.
He shoved Rocky out of the way.
Oh yeah, Rocky came up a couple times this past week. He was trying to check in with Greg and say, maybe you could be okay now, buddy. And Greg said, I'll never be okay again. I don't love anybody. I don't love anything. Yeah. So that's what happened. What do you guys want to talk about?
It was so good. It was a very, just cheese grater to the heart kind of situation. I love that OC brought the Pixies back for his song. Yeah. Went from Jane to that. I kind of wish he'd switch back to it, honestly. So.
I know.
I miss it now.
I know. I thought that was going to end up being, like, his thing, that, like, you know, like, he can't, like, for Dynamite, that he'd be back with the Pixies in the dark colors, but I guess that was just a special pay-per-view mood.
Do you think the Pixies is a lot more expensive than Jane? Tony had to work so hard to get Jane.
I know, but Jane, they just like wouldn't return his emails. I wonder which one's more expensive. I don't know how to gauge that at all.
I wish there were a website that I could go, like one of those AI written celebrity
net worth. Whatever.
Yes, exactly. Well, maybe we'll never know. Yeah, and to have he had the all dark gear. He had changed out the sunglasses. I was shocked, and you really knew the name of the sunglasses he was wearing.
Yeah, he was wearing Wayfarers instead of Aviators. So.
How'd you know that? How'd you know about Wayfarers?
I don't know. I think from songs. You know, like the Boys of Summer. Got those Wayfarers
did they bring up Wayfarers in that one?
Wayfarers on, baby.
Wayfarers on. You're so right. And I've sung that song a million times.
Yeah.
I never thought about that. Troubling.
Are you enjoying this praise, Anne?
Yeah, so much. How many points am I getting now? I gotta rack them up.
Well, I think just one for the Wayfarers. No one's getting more than 1 point for any of this. So 1 point per incidence of knowing something. What did you guys think of Greg's new gear?
I made a lot of period jokes really fast.
Really fast? You said, let me just rattle these off real quick.
I mean, between him and Malakai, we're really like reaching into our diva cups for some of these.
Yeah, what was the phase of the moon at the pay-per-view?
The girls are syncing up.
You know, what day was it that I noticed that it was the full moon? It was last week. So I think the moon was waning. Yeah, it was. God bless you. I loved the whole thing. This is not smack talk about Greg. I loved the gear. It was insane because it was just a big, just right on the inside of the thigh. It was
mostly black and with red just on the butt and
inner thighs.
Yeah, it was right where the blood comes out.
Yeah, right. Like when you wake up and then you go to swing your legs off the bed and then you go, oh no. That's what it looks like.
It's so nice of AEW to be so period positive these last few weeks.
I know.
So in our Discord, I was like, I know that Greg has a girlfriend. How is no one telling him that he shouldn't go out like this? And Anne had the world's funniest answer, which I'm going to put her on the spot and say that she has to say.
Yeah, well, I just thought, dating a wrestler, it must be like, he's like, hey, babe, like, look at my gear. What do you think? And you're like, oh, yeah, it looks great. And then he notices that you're kind of just smirking to yourself, and he's like, what? And you're like, nothing. And then you get to see him on national TV looking like he just got his period, and it's very funny to you, but you know that he's not going to get made fun of at work or in the IWC because none of them know about periods.
Imagine if Dave Meltzer ever said about a wrestler, his gear looked like he just got his period. Wouldn't happen. It wouldn't happen.
No. I just can't imagine the word like menstrual coming out of Dave's like mouth. Do you think it ever has?
Do I think he's ever said menstrual? It is no. I guess no. I guess I can maybe imagine him accidentally. No.
He's been married, but I don't feel like menstrual would ever.
I don't think that means that you would have said menstrual. No,
I don't think so.
Or maybe he would have said. Maybe he said like, "Are you on your woman times?"
Is it that time of the month?
Is it that time of the month? Yeah. Well, it is that time of the month for Greg. He's not in a good mood.
Yeah, no, he was having a bad time. So,
and
honestly, you got the cramps, you know.
Honestly, it kind of explains a lot of like what was going on with him the week before too. Like, he had PMS. He wasn't feeling good.
He put this gear on and he said, "That's why I've been so cranky this last week."
Just need to get my period gear. Get this flow going. We can make these jokes. Men don't get any ideas.
Yeah,
this isn't for you. This isn't for you.
Nope.
Okay. Don Callis, I think this was a brief backstage segment at the pay-per-view, said that he was planning to present a contract on Dynamite. So accordingly, he and OC both came out to the ring on Dynamite, and Don invited OC to join the Callis family, and OC said no and ripped the contract up in front of him. Twitter did remind me that this was the second time he has refused to join Don Callis. Apparently, he got propositioned while Don and Kenny were still tight, and I saw a little clip of that.
Yeah.
It's very funny.
I had forgotten that.
I remembered it because that was when after Pac almost broke his neck and they were trying to give him an out in case he wasn't allowed to be cleared, and so that was when
was that Chris, before the three-way?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think Chris was in the room too. And remember she went like this at she threatened Kenny, and Kenny jumped back too, and it was like if we
thought of me
if we lived in a fair world, we would have seen a Chris versus Kenny match.
Oh my God, that would have been, please. Someday still, please.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so OC said no. Don Callis was really upset. He's kind of yelling. Stoke and Stat came out. They were vamping a little bit, and then Stat said something. Do you remember what this line was? That basically was like, oh, shit. Don Callis.
It was something about her friend was here, I think.
Yeah, or my friend. She basically was like, somebody else will be joining Don Callis. And you were like, oh, whoopsie, I know who that is. Because I didn't think this, I thought this is where we were headed. And Greg had snuck into the ring, and he was dressed in a suit, all black, Johnny Cash.
Black suit, black shirt. He looked great. Suit fit him.
The suit did fit. It was very slim fitting, but he wasn't bulging in unsightly ways. He looked neat and nice.
Yeah. Yeah. It was extremely. Greg's been looking great this whole time.
He really has, yeah.
Greg's hot. Yeah. But
this was another example of when heels do a theater that you're not exactly sure how it would work out. Because what were they going to do if OC had said yes? Would he and Greg just be in Don Callis' family together?
Isn't this the exact same situation that Don Callis got himself into with, I want to say, Jericho?
Oh, yeah.
Remember when he was like, I think, did Jericho agree to join his family and then was like, can I see the beautiful portrait you've done of me? And then it was Don Callis's evil portrait because he had assumed that Jericho wasn't going to join. So I guess that the through line here is that Don Callis often offers contracts assuming that the person won't join and is like, but I'll simply set up a revenge scheme immediately to follow and punish them for not wanting to be on my team, which I agree is ludicrous. I also, having praised Greg earlier, I will say that we were right back in the world of wrestling here, where I said, this does not add up.
I forgot that he got that mean oil painting done, and then Jericho revealed it. That's so funny.
Yeah, so funny.
If we live in a just world, before this is over, we get to see a painting of OC.
Oh, please.
And
please.
Greg, there has to be one of Greg.
It should be
on a
Greg,
unicorn.
Slitting, one of those little slitting throat ones,
decapitating OC, holding OC.
Yeah, hold his head
What's her name? Mel Coleman or something? Please,
we need it. So Greg attacked OC and he knocked him down onto the floor, and OC really not doing good, and Greg's beating him up, and then Don Callis was so excited. He was kind of prancing like a happy maniac, like, yes, yes, yes. And then he's kicking OC with his bedazzled feet, and then he and Greg did the ultimate repulsive crime of hugging like best friends, and
they got the zoom out, and you got to give the people what they want.
You got to give the people what they want. And as someone on our Discord pointed out, I'm so sorry, I can't remember who said it right now. Don Callis's foot popped, like in the movie when the girl loves being kissed. He loved being hugged, and I know I'm talking, but the most heartbreaking thing, because I was like, this is fucking genius. I have not seen anyone do this well since I don't know when. Greg was standing over OC, and there was a moment where it was a little bit like the Fox and the Hound, where you were like, Greg, will you what if you change your mind and you protect him? Because OC was clawing pathetically at his leg, like, I'm hurt. Don't hurt me more. Don't let him hurt me more. But then Greg hugged Don Callis and let Don Callis kick him with bedazzled shoes some more, because he is not the defensive hound, and he don't protect the fox.
You don't.
No one protected the fox. OC has saved so many people, and nobody came out here.
If you could I can't even name the number of men who OC has rushed out to save, and I have said, that's crazy. He's never met that guy, but he's a helper, because he's always just been like, I'll help you out. I'll put my sunglasses on your face. Adam Cole, we had a huge feud, but suddenly I'm your tag team partner for no reason. He is a nice man. No one come to help him. And I said, if you were smart, you would make that a character note, and you could draw that out for a long time if you wanted. Not if you were smart. You are smart, but you could do it.
You could do it. Yeah. Yeah. Where's Hook? Where's Shibata? Where's Adam Cole? Where's Darby?
Yeah. Darby it's
at the hospital.
Darby's his.
Well,
yeah.
I did
Darby,
see his
I hope,
face
is seeking medical attention. When
has that ever stopped him before?
That's so true. But he's never been an Iberica ham before, so.
I want to see, like, a clip where, like, OC is checking his phone and a text from Darby comes in and is like, I would have come out, but I was in a full body cast.
That's the only excuse that I'll accept. Do you guys think that OC's perspective is, like, clear? Like, do you understand what's been going on with him for the past few weeks?
No, because, I mean, he said no to Don Callis, honestly, pretty quickly.
Yeah, but he knew he was going to.
After multiple incidents of, like, letting leading Don Callis on, like,
you think that he's like Abed at the bar? It's like, I knew he wanted me to join his faction this whole time, but I was just enjoying talking about Farscape.
Yeah, basically. And so, like, I am just kind of like, well, if you were so sure that you didn't want to join Don Callis, then why did any of that happen? But, like, I guess I'm not really mad about it. Like, it's fine, but I really hope that they are gonna do something fun soon.
Yeah, I was feeling like I'm not mad about it either. Like, I feel like this storyline has all been executed like shockingly well.
Mostly made a lot of sense. Yeah.
Yeah, but I do feel like OC, like, his character's progressed a lot from a guy who, like, never talked to a guy who, like, sometimes talks and, like, tries and stuff. But I do kind of feel like he needs to go a little farther down that path of a guy who talks a little bit more than he's talking. And he's like, he's not the strongest promo, but, he's good enough. And I just think it'd be nice, especially in this kind of storyline. I think you need a little bit more.
Yeah. I think it also could be, like, foolishness on my part. I could be forgetting stuff, but what did he get out of it? You know what I mean? Like, it would make sense to me if he was kind of leading Don Callis on because he was getting some kind of, help he needed in matches, or, like, and he did do the match with Ospreay, but I just don't really feel like it's clear that he got anything out of leading Don Callis on.
Yeah. And you could have done something, like, even if it was like he didn't want to be like Wardlow eating alone in a restaurant. He wanted like just sit with Don Callis sat with him at catering, so it's like, okay, I don't have any friends.
But then he ostensibly still had Chris as a friend, like, until Sunday. So
right. And so, like, you could have done something where, like, Chris turned and then went to, instead of doing the backstage thing with Stokely, instead she went to, like, OC and, like, said something to him that was like, it's not too late. Like, you could, I think you should join Don Callis. I don't know exactly how you would have done it, but to set up a thing where, like, by turning down Don Callis, OC was, like, also turning down his last chance to keep any friend. Because he was fully choosing morals. He wasn't going to pick the easy route.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, that really moves me.
Well,
I'm not sure it's what happened, but.
Yeah. But, hopefully something will come soon that, like, is like, oh, this is what's really going on with him.
Yeah.
But I think often what's going on with faces usually doesn't get explored because it is sort of like, oh, well, they chose the right thing. Who cares why they did?
Yeah.
With the big exception being beautiful hangman.
Yeah. That doesn't satisfy me in this case, but again, look, we're not bad. This is our beautiful boy.
No,
it's
not
our
bad.
son.
Yeah.
He'll always be our boy, and I hope he does. I hope he does make some new friends. He's in a little bit of a rough situation right now. I'll be interested to see how this is going to play out for him over the summer, because we got to be setting up a little something for him at our all ins, all outs. So, what's my little baby gonna do? What's my baby? Is there anything you want to say from these other segments? Ooh. Sorry to anybody who made it onto the little short shit list, but this is a really long episode, so it is what it is.
Nothing that important. There was other stuff I liked, but I don't have anything fascinating to say about it.
I will join. We aren't the first to say it. Many of our compatriots elsewhere have said Serena Deeb really missed the chance. Instead of doing the Deeb or nothing, which is garbage, she really needed to do Deeble or Neeble.
Deeble or Neeble is so funny.
It's so funny.
If Serena Deeb ever said Deeble or Neeble, I would prairie dog, and I'd be like, did I miss something about her? Is she actually fucking hilarious? And no, she's not.
I would genuinely consider buying a shirt that said Deeble or Neeble.
Yeah. And she was like showing off that shirt, like she was so proud of it and kind of smirking. It was just like, Serena Dweeb, what are you doing?
Serena Dweeb. I will. My final thing that I'll say is that the shirt I probably will be buying, and probably all your hosts will be buying, is Chris Jericho's Learning Tree University shirt.
Yeah. Oh my god, incredible!
Thank you, Chris.
I've never been tempted.
Thank you for listening to the people and saying, they want fake Learning Tree University merch. Yes, we do.
Yeah.
Yes,
and
we do.
Please go deeper down that. That
keep
path.
going. Yeah, I want to be able to buy a Learning Tree graduation certificate. It's not nothing. Something to consider.
A little cap. A little, cap.
A little cap with a tassel.
Hello?
Yeah. Oh my god! And the tassel could be, they make kind of like decorative ribbon where it has leaves on it. It could be tassel with leaves on it.
Wow.
They got us get it. They got to get us in there in the merch.
Yeah, get us in there.
Imagine if the Learning Tree University shirt was green, like a nice forest green too, instead of that wrestling black.
I would really like a beautiful green. Oh my gosh.
I would kill a forest green t-shirt that says in the white block letters Learning Tree Varsity
Ooh,
yeah.
Yes.
Oh my god. I'd buy it immediately.
Oh, for sure.
I'm immediately could we bootleg that? Could I just pay to get that printed?
Okay, honestly, we could go buy those. They sell those letters at Michael's. You can make one of those shirts so easy. If you see your girls in bootleg Learning Tree Varsity sports shirts at a later date, no, you didn't. And don't report us. Don't report us to litigious Chris Jericho, okay? Chris, we only do it because we love the gimmick. For love of the gimmick.
Love of the gimmick.
On that note, I have been Allie.
I've been Ann.
And I've been Leah.
This is Tunnel Talk. Our theme is by Chris Corkin. You can find us on Twitter and Tumblr at Tunnel Talk Pod, via email at tunneltalkpod@gmail.com. You can also find us on the Social Suplex Network feed, where you can check out some of the other great podcasts on the network. I know there's Nutrition Sarah this week, and ONR had a live together in person post pay-per-view spectacular.
It was very good.
Was too sleepy to enjoy the night of, but I enjoyed very much. You can also find us on the Social Suplex Network Discord, where we're often talking about nonsense. Please rate, review, and subscribe to us wherever you get your podcasts. My God, stay frosty. And as always, please come back next week.
Primary Election Day is Tuesday, June 4th. Now is the time to make a plan. Whether you plan to vote absentee by mail, in person at your county auditor's office before Election Day, or at your polling place on June 4th, It's important you take steps now to make your plan at voterready.iowa.gov. Remember, Election Day is Tuesday, June 4th. Find more info at voterready.iowa.gov. This message is presented by the Iowa Secretary of State.